to undertake should include three interlocking elements. The first is a root and branch policy review. Nothing should be considered sacrosanct. That was the approach we took after the 87 election. It should be now. If anything, the scale of the defeat now and the task ahead is even greater than it was then. But in reality, and I think we should be honest about this, it is not really a question of individual policies. It's not just about housing or agency workers or immigration policy, the 10p tax level. These were the debates and the arguments of 3 or 4 years ago. Today, the task is much more profound. The policy areas were the result of a corruption in an underlying value system. As a party, we seem to have lost our way. So side by side with the policy review, Labour needs to undergo a profound cultural reformation. We need to re-examine our entire way of doing things. We do not do that by denying our past, but by drawing inspiration from it. That is what a reformation means. Many are deeply alienated by the culture of Labourism in both its old and new variants. If we are to be part of a progressive alliance, we have to earn that right, not necessarily just assert it. We have to reach out by showing that we can change to become more open, democratic and pluralistic. And this cultural reformation is the route into rebuilding a new covenant with the electorate. And this is the third most critical element of real renewal. It begins for me in England as an exercise in self-discovery. We lost the election in England badly. It is in England that our future will be determined. Let us begin by reminding ourselves of who we are. We are Labour and we are not new. Our roots are centuries deep in the struggle for democracy and justice. We are the light shining in Buckinghamshire, with Rainsborough at Putney. The Levellers' Charter was our charter, standing in the crowd at Peterloo, standing with the Irishmen Bronte O'Brien and William Cuffey. The People's Charter was ours. John Ruskin's rallying cry is our creed: there is no wealth but life. Standing alongside matchgirls, dockers, miners, railway workers at Taff Vale, with the Men's Political Union and the suffragettes. This is Labour's gift to us all today, and in turn, Labour's future is our obligation. Make it once more the defender of a society against the power of the state and the market. Organise the powerless, give voice to the voiceless. A new covenant with the people of England and with the nations of Britain, built on identity and nationhood, neighbourliness and belonging, kindness and solidarity, duty and obligation. Critically, it is a politics located and respectful of the ordinary. At its best, this is precisely what New Labour sought and achieved. Tony Blair argued in 1994 for a new nationalism, and I quote, "A new spirit in the nation based on working together, unity, solidarity, partnership. This is the patriotism of the future, where your child in distress is my child, your parent ill and in pain is my parent, your friend unemployed or homeless is my friend, your neighbour, my neighbour. That is the true patriotism of a nation." So what went wrong then? Well, we broke this covenant with the people. Contrast the Blair of 94 with that at the 2005 Labour Party conference after our third electoral victory. Here he describes how, quote, "the character of this changing world is indifferent to tradition, unforgiving of frailty, no respecter of past reputations. It has no custom and practice." I say that's a load of bollocks. Rather than view this world as destructive and dehumanising, he celebrated those who are, quote, "swift to adapt and open, willing and able to change." He celebrates a set of attributes available only to a few, an elite. He gives no voice to the voiceless. The difference between these two speeches in 94 and 2005 reflects the emptying out of a Labour government. By 2005, what worked for him is, quote, "a liberal economy prepared constantly to change to remain competitive." It is a dystopian winner-takes-all vision of capitalist modernity in which the human values of commitment, fidelity and loyalty are subordinated to anonymous and unpredictable market forces. Its creative destruction destroys ethical values, social cohesion and cultural identity. This worldview is a major factor in the collapse of Labour's support. Our loss of language, our loss of soul, something relished by the sour secularist. In a way that mirrors Hayek's liberalism, New Labour's utilitarianism cultivated an acquisitive, selfish individualism cut loose from social obligations and duty. We kiss up, we kick down. Where is the compassion? The door, of course, was then opened up for David Cameron's compassionate conservatism as Labour lost its language, its hope and its optimism. Carried us on today, and it's logical that we do indeed blame the victim, the migrant, the welfare recipient. Richard Rorty once wrote, "The best way to cause people long-lasting pain is to humiliate them by making the things that seemed most important to them look futile, obsolete and powerless." This is what many feel when thinking of that journey from 1994 to 2005. Real pain and loss, because the very optimism of progressive politics appears to have been lost from a party that at its best was once a byword for it. Labour has to win back this political terrain. It is a language, not a branding exercise. It incorporates all the things that Blair's later speech dismisses as anachronistic: tradition, the value of settled ways of life, an identification and pleasure in local place and belonging, a desire for home and rootedness, the continuity of relations at work and in one's neighbourhood. In short, the quest for build a new covenant with the people. First, it is a covenant of reciprocity, of doing unto others as you would do to you, as that you would have them do to you. People give to others as good citizens, workers, neighbours and parents. In return, they're given a fair and just tax system, universal social protection, a minimum income entitlement, a living wage, secure employment and pensions, homes for people to live in. Second, the covenant is for an ethical economy, organised for human well-being and equality. That means reform of the banks, securing capital and employment in localities, reform of corporate governance to make business accountable. And third, the covenant is for liberty, strong democratic cultures for active participation and deliberative decision-making, freedom of information and plural media ownership, civil liberties cherished, nurtured, not given away cheaply. Now, a new covenant will not work top-down. An undemocratic party, unreformed, will destroy it. Tribalism will wither it. What is victory in the next election if it's only about power that we seek? So let's give heart to future generations. Let them look back on our time and wish that they too had been here, that they played a part in a great revival of Labour and the struggle for a good society. Because to put simply, the next few years will see profound economic rupture and social upheaval across these lands. We must resist the libcons, defend services and communities. This will possibly be the most challenging period for at least a generation. The fundamental political terrain will divide between hope and despair, optimism and cynicism. We know where Compass will stand, but where will Labour end up? For Labour to be part of the solution, it must rediscover a rich English tradition of volatile, inspirational cultures of nonconformity, rebelliousness and creativity. The task at hand is quite simple: to make hope possible rather than despair convincing, literally by rediscovering a sense of purpose for a nation. Thank you very much.